we have a new Gravity OTF, which the only other Gravity OTF that I can think of that's actually any good that's out the front is the Rieti XO. Now this one is completely different in the way it works and how it functions. So the way it works is this one has a button and it has two hinges here. So when you push the button, the hinges separate, as you can see. Well, that is what's holding in the blade from popping out. So when you push the button, the blade will fall out and then the hinges come back and trap the blade. You can see how it kind of falls right behind the tang right there. And it does feel very solid up and down. I have zero play going up and down. So I will attempt to stab it into things in the future. I'm going to do probably a full review on this where I actually test the strength of it and everything else, you know, as far as, you know, downward pressure. Now, I do feel a little side to side. No up and down this way, though, which is actually fascinating. They did a pretty good job. And I know you can hold this and lock it stronger, but even if I hold back here. Now, side to side, yeah, there's a little bit of play, but they kind of need that in order for it to free flow like it does. The blade is somewhat of a Tanto. If you look at it, it has... Oh, there we go. You can see it kind of has a little bit of like a clip point, somewhat, some people would call it reverse Tanto. I don't really believe in reverse Tanto, but it has a clip point Tanto. The Tanto's hard to see though, but you can see the secondary tip right there. So it has a straight edge to this point and then the belly. This is going to act and work just like a drop point, exactly like a drop point. So there's really no need to really worry about that. Even as far as sharpening goes, you don't even have to, if you want to make this more pronounced, you can sharpen it like two edges, but it would be no problem for you to just sharpen it all the way. Now, M390, 60 to 62 HRC. Love hearing that HRC. I prefer it 61, 62. That would be optimal. But hearing 60 to 62 is a lot better than hearing 58 to 61, you know, so very cool. Now, as far as whipping it out, right? So going like that, where you push the button and you smack it out. It does work. I can feel mine is still kind of breaking in. But as far as just letting it drop, that seems to be the smoothest way. Now, like I said, you can whip it. You just kind of got to get used to exactly how to thrust it. And the way I find is that instead of going sideways like this, you kind of want to go flat. So you kind of lunge it this way like that. And that's a better way to get it to deploy. The handle is titanium. Let's take off the titanium cover. This is just a little carbon fiber overlay, or inlay I should say, because it is inset. And then here's the mechanism and basically the inside of it. So the button is on this side. So as you can see, when I push the button, it pushes out on those flanges. Where is that mechanism? It must be on the inside right here. And then right there is how it locks. You see how this has these two grooves right there. So those drop in right underneath there and lock it in place. And then when this covers on there, it holds that part in place. You can see there's the mechanism right there. So there's spring tension right here. You can see there's a little groove right there locking things in. But it's pretty nifty how it works. And now it's all back put together. Now these are available. You can find them on the Remet site. I don't have an affiliate link, so I'm not going to link it down in the description, but just look up Remet knives. Hopefully I have an affiliate soon. This is a pretty cool knife. It's definitely innovative. It's definitely different. Ergonomics are great. You know, and as you're squeezing it, you are locking it in place a little bit stronger. Like I said, I will be doing some testing on seeing how strong this is here moving forward, you know, for a review. Now, it does have a lanyard hole back here. Oh, you know what? Actually, the geometry. Let's talk about the geometry. The geometry is a little bit more on the robust side, but I kind of understand that because, in one, it's going to slice just fine. It's not like it's bad geometry, but to be a little bit thicker means it's less likely to break and things like that, so I'm not too mad at that. Now, As far as use goes for EDC, yeah, it's going to look pretty much just like an OTF. There's nothing to stop you from sliding up the blade, but it does have some decent texture, especially right here on the edges. Now, one of my biggest complaints is this button. This has no traction at all. I know it looks like it does, but it's literally, it might as well not even have any of those lines. It's slick as slick. It's not like this where this actually has grooves. I wish this texturing was on this one, or even sharper. I wish this was really sharp, kind of like an OTF, a spring activated OTF. That's how these should be, nice and sharp, so that when you put your finger there, it grips you back. This, you know, feels like a slippery ramp. So that would be one of my negatives. The next negative is it does not have a clip. Man, this thing needs a clip bad. It doesn't make sense not to have a clip on this, because anybody wanting to carry this is not just going to want to toss it in their pocket. It comes with a pouch, but it doesn't come with a belt sheath or anything. So how are you going to carry it? You know, I guess, you know, you could just enjoy it at the house, but if you did want to carry it, nobody really wants to toss something like this in the pocket. Not that this will go off, because it's not going to. You know, you'd really have to have everything happen just right for that thing to open up in your pocket, which I just don't think is going to happen. But having it on your pocket, you know, would be even better. You could slip it right in there. You know, you could put a secondary lock. I don't really personally care about that, but it is really cool. It is very well done. You know, the mechanism is awesome, and it's well put together. Now, the next complaint is T6 hardware. Why not just do T8s? It only has 3 screws. So if it only is going to have 3 screws, why not make them T8s? Now, the hardware feels like good quality, but man, it'd be awesome if it was T8s or T10s or something like that. How are you going to put a lanyard tube, a nice lanyard tube, by the way, but not a clip? That just does not make sense to me. This thing absolutely should have a clip. It can screw in from the inside. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think that would be the best option. The thing is, though, is that I have a feeling that the clip would have to be on this side. Take it out. Maybe not. I guess it's hard to say. I guess you wouldn't want the button against your leg. You'd probably want it facing out. So in that case, the clip would have to be right here. So you could pull it out, slide it. You'd have to rotate it in your hand and then get it to this. Now, if it was this direction, you know, if the clip was right here, I guess you could just put a reversible clip, but you could take it out, slide it, you know, and get right to it. So this is the optimal way, but then this thing is pressed against your leg. So, you know, I'm personally not worried about it. I don't think there would be any issues. But anyways, you know, that would be definitely a plus. And, you know, anybody who doesn't want a clip can always just take it off. One other thing that would really improve this thing is if these flanges were either just moved up slightly so they weren't so low, or 2, drop this button down a little bit with more traction. The traction is the killer. That's what messes you up, because you're constantly fighting a spring on a slippery surface. But it works best if you hold low, because if you're holding high, you see how you're stopping the flanges from coming out. So you have to kind of hold low. You can hold it up high, but you have to keep your fingers off of the flanges. So what works best is just to hold it low underneath the hinges, and then, you know, operate it. So if, like I said, if that was adjusted a little bit, where this button was just dropped down a little bit, where your fingers would land right on the, and also with traction, it would probably help you just a little bit with deploying and not interfering with the hinges, because it can take a little bit to get used to. It makes it feel not as smooth as it could if that was just adjusted a little bit. Don't get me wrong, you get used to it really quick and you know exactly how to operate it. Everything takes, you know, a little tiny bit of a learning curve, and it's very, very easy. It's not like even a learning curve. You'll naturally get used to it. But I'm just saying, even just adding, you know, making this sharper right there changes everything, just to put some texture there. But if this was shifted down just a little bit, or these flanges were up just a little bit higher, it might help quite a bit. So let's look at it next to the EXO. So this is the medium size one. There's a large one, a medium, and a small. So this thing is in between the size of the large EXO and the medium. Then there's also a smaller one, obviously. Now here is the Paragon Warlock. Now this is not an OTF gravity knife, but it is a gravity knife. It's just an out the side gravity knife, as you can see. You can see they're both quite a bit smaller than the Paragon. Awesome, awesome knife. These are available, by the way, all different kinds of versions. The EXOs are also available. If you want to get them, I will link them down in the description. I do have an affiliate link to sites that have them. Now, as far as this one goes, it's really good. They did a really good job with it. I think with some little tiny minor tweaks here and there, this thing could be amazing. And I mean, like, very sought after. Just little tiny tweaks. And this being the first version, I have no doubt that that's not going to happen. I have no doubt that we're not going to see a Gen 2 or, something like that with some little tiny improvements. To see, because it is innovative, and you guys know I love innovation. I love seeing new things. So shout out to Remet for doing some pretty interesting things, and I'm always excited to see what Remet has coming next. So far, from what I've seen from Remet's doing a great job. They have multiple different knife models that I really like, and I think they're doing a really good job on. They are doing the little fine details pretty well, for the most part. So I suspect that we are going to continue to see them evolve and continue to see them really, show out. I think we're really going to see them start doing a lot of really cool things. It just, I'm not saying I know that, to be true. I just have the feeling that these guys they're here to stay, and they're probably going to be doing their best to give us great products. And hopefully that's true. And hopefully, it's a company that cares about their heat treatment and cares about their HRC and things like that. Because if you want to stand out above the crowd, that is the one way to do it. A lot of companies might make an amazing product, but they lack on the heat treatment or HRC. If you can make a good product and focus on the heat treatment and HRC, man, oh man, you will quickly, rapidly move up in the ranks. Anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.